My son is a gamer.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, he'll be in the game room and he'll be online headset, and it's like he's got his buddies over.
Right.
It sounds and looks just like a normal teen interaction.
Right.
They just happen to be in 3 different houses. It's a full-on healthy teen interaction. I've had to change the way I think because he's having healthy interaction through gaming. Now, I've also played Call of Duty with him. And we've been over in DMZ playing, and we've had other people in our squad, and we've had communication that wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
And of course, we're not telling him where we live and those kinds of things.
Exactly.
There's some healthy boundaries that we have to have in gaming, because there are very, very toxic people out there.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to bring that perspective. Gaming friends are real friends to our kids, so we have to be careful as parents that we don't invalidate those friendships, and we still pay attention to those and talk about boundaries like you talked about, and being careful with what information you share with people that you game with that you don't know in person.
Hi, I'm Kenny Klaus, and this is State 48 Homeowner.
Hey, my friends, welcome back to the State 48 Homeowner Podcast, and we are back with Ashley Fortune, a social worker with Gilbert Public Schools, and welcome back. We loved having you on the podcast. We had to have you come back.
Well, thanks, Scott. I'm happy to be back.
We wanted to talk about internet safety. Again, we've got little people in our homes, and one of the biggest things today is there's a lot of crazy things happening on the internet. And you talked with Gilbert PD.
Yes.
And what are the latest things that are happening?
Yes. So, I spent some time with Gilbert PD. I actually had them come on the Parent University podcast and talk about social media safety. And they're talking about things I think we already know. Kids are on the internet, lots of kids, starting at a young age. And that is a place, unfortunately, where there are predators. They talk about the stranger danger of yesterday, right? It's no longer just a person with like a creepy van and candy.
Yeah, we used to have the white van.
Yeah, it's not really that anymore. It's more of these people behind the screen. So they talked a lot about access to social media. They gave me some statistics that were really quite staggering, like the average age in the United States for a kid getting their first smartphone, like a fully functioning smartphone, is age 11. So pretty young. Yeah. And it's really important as parents that we're tuned into our children's internet use and activity, and we're taking advantage of all those parental controls that are available, that we're looking at our kids' friend lists and who's following them on social media, and make sure that our kids can explain to us who those people are, and talking to kids about the dangers of social media, because there are many.
So you said Gilbert PD told you that the average kid is on the internet, 9 hours a day?
They did. They said 9 hours a day, an average of 7 different social media platforms.
So here's the scary thing. You said 500,000 predators online a day.
Yes. Yeah. They were talking about there are people that's basically their job.
And it wasn't like just people that are like searching things up, or these are like people that are actually trying to make contact.
Yes. Yeah. They're looking to target vulnerable people, young people. They're looking to extort money and gift cards from people. They're online predators.
So let's talk about a couple of those trends. One of them, we had an MTV show about it.
Yeah.
Catfishing.
Right.
And they kind of made it kind of humorous a little bit, but we're seeing that it's not always humorous. They made it about the dating part.
Sure.
In which, let's talk about catfishing. So somebody goes and maybe has a crush on somebody, or we had a football player that fell victim to it, an NFL player. We had some just random people that somebody kind of maybe had a crush, or they were just messing around. They found some pictures online and just wanted to pretend to be that person for the sake of either dating or just they were bored.
Right.
And a lot of it seemed to be on the show. It was just boredom. But we're seeing that sometimes it's just to mess with people.
Yeah. Take advantage of people.
And people that they know at school.
Yeah, it could be. It could be, yeah. So I think it's important to educate our kids on catfishing and how things, you can't just take things at face value. Kids can be trusting, we know that, and we need to make sure that things are not always as they appear online, even if there's pictures, video, voice. If you don't actually know the person in real life, you need to exercise caution.
Let's talk about the big one, though, sextortion.
Yes, that was a phrase or word that Gilbert PD referenced a lot. Sextortion is when an online predator looks to get explicit images from kids, from young people, or people in general, but we're talking about kids right now, from young people, and then they blackmail them.
So they're going to pretend to either, so if the victim's a guy, and it can go either way, because
they said most commonly it's a teenage boy.
Yeah, and so they're going to pretend to be a girl at school, or at a different school,
peer, like a young girl,
and they're going to, hey, how you doing? And can you send me a picture?
Yeah.
And can you make it a little bit more racy? And then they end up sending a pic.
Right.
And then they say, ha, guess what? I'm not her.
Basically.
And then what happens?
Yeah, and then they ask for money. They ask for gift cards to stop them from sharing the images on social media or with their personal network or their school.
Or with the whole school.
Or just the world, yeah.
And so we've had instances in Mesa and Gilbert and Chandler of kids taking their lives.
Yeah. Kids, unfortunately, in our own community have fallen victim to that, and they felt like they had no other choice. Yeah. So that's why this topic is so important. We want to open the doors for this kind of communication with our kids about what they're experiencing online early, because we know they are online early, and talk about safety when you're using social media, and let them know, like, hey, just if you get yourself into a sticky situation, you can come to me and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't ever feel like you can't come to me when you're in trouble.
And, even just at some point as parents too, and probably frequently, to have the conversation with our kids that, hey, no matter what in the moment it feels like, if it feels so overwhelming, please come talk to me.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
You make a choice.
Yes, before you make a choice, right?
Just come talk to me. Talk to somebody.
Somebody, right?
There's phone numbers that you can call.
Yeah.
Before you make a final decision. In a lot of cases, it may seem like the worst day ever.
Yeah.
But there's probably a good day ahead. It may not feel like it.
Right. Yeah.
In the moment, but talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. So, yeah, these are things that we want to make sure kids are aware of, so that they're in that moment. But it's tough to communicate that with a kid and go, hey, don't ever send that over the phone.
Yeah, you cannot take that stuff back.
It's tough to communicate that to a kid, but we have to.
Yeah. And they might, it's like Snapchat, for example, kids might think, oh, it disappears after the person views it, but you really lose control of it. If you look at the fine print on Snapchat, I haven't personally, but I've been told that if you read that fine print, it doesn't actually go away. It is still stored. And even if they don't screenshot it or save it, they can physically show other people.
Which we saw in the recent case in Gilbert, that people took a screenshot of somebody's confession of murder and took a screenshot of it with another phone.
Yeah, and that's right. You could record stuff with another phone. So they need to not feel a false sense of security when it comes to things like, oh, it vanishes after you view it or something, because there's always a way.
Yeah. So yes, this stuff's pretty scary. So, a lot of stuff out there. So, stick around for just a second. We will be right back and talk about how parents can take a little bit of extra care with social media.
Hey everyone, this is Kenny Klaus with Klaus Team Real Estate Solutions. We know there's a lot of confusion in today's market, whether it's billboards, TV, radio, mail. Everyone's trying to get your attention. They offer one lane, where at the Klaus Team, we have over 20 different programs. We can help you navigate through to find out what's best for you. And remember, we work for you, they work for themselves. We're here to represent you and make sure you have the best experience possible.
Visit us at klausteam.com/call-us-first. So, Ashley, what can parents do to keep their kids a little bit extra safe with social media and yet still let them feel like they're doing what the other kids do and be alive on social media?
Right. Well, we are already kind of hit on it, and that's establishing open communication. And that's going to be probably my first tip with a lot of different topics. You want to make sure you have an open line of communication with your child and they feel like they can talk to you about hard things, things that are uncomfortable. And then the next thing would be educating yourself on these different social media platforms, and also educating your child on some of the things that we talked about, like catfishing and sextortion and different kind of trends that are out there that are happening. Even like social media challenges and how like kids got caught up in that or can get caught up in that. But yeah, educate yourself.
Those are so weird.
They are very weird.
So it was a long time ago I went to high school, granted,
Yeah.
but I've never wanted to eat soap.
Me either.
I've never wanted to jump out of a car while it's moving.
No, not even for social media.
No. But
right.
I digress.
I know. So things are different, obviously, these days, and so that's why we're talking about this. But educate yourself and your child. There are different features, privacy features, parental controls that you can exercise. I know my children have tablets, and we are able to control when they can access the internet, what apps they can use on it, who they can communicate with. I mean, we have a lot of control through the parental controls and the privacy settings. You want to talk to kids about, things like location sharing. A lot of kids on Snapchat, or a lot of people, I'll say, will have their location turned on, and they may not even know it, or they might think, that's what me and my friends do. We share our location so we can see where people are at. We'll talk to them about the dangers of that. There's other things we could talk about with how that's unsafe besides online predators. It could even be people talking to them about even sharing stuff online or like bullying, what you should do when you see those kinds of things, how you can report it, how you can report harassment or inappropriate behavior on the various platforms.
You can unfriend people and block them.
And block them, exactly. I know I've had kids come and talk to me about things happen online, and I'm like, hey, block that person, unfriend them, they don't need to be able to see your stuff. You don't have to receive these messages from them. You
don't have to have everybody from school on your social media.
No, you don't. And that's another important tip, is looking at who your child is following, who their friends are on social media, and then who is following them too. Make sure, Gilbert PD talked a lot about, make sure that your child can explain to you who that person is.
Yes.
I will say,
if they can't,
that's a red flag. That's something to explore. I will say I had a parent workshop from the Lalo Boy Foundation. And if you haven't heard of them, look them up. They have an incredible mission. But one of those things is educating the community about internet safety. And they talk about the gaming community. And that is kind of a unique community. And a lot of young people are involved in gaming. And they might have friends.
And I will tell you, it is, so my son is a gamer.
Yeah.
And when he went to junior high, he had a circle of friends that dispersed to different high schools.
Yeah.
And so he's got a best friend at a different high school. He and another buddy went to the same high school, but then his buddy moved across the country. And so on the weekends, he'll be in our game room, and he'll be on line headset, and it's like he's got his buddies over.
Right.
It sounds and looks just like a normal teen interaction.
Right.
They just happen to be in 3 different houses. It's a full-on healthy teen interaction. They just aren't in the same room, but they're laughing together. They're talking just like teens do. Doesn't look like anything that existed when I was a kid, but I've had to change the way I think because he's having healthy interaction through gaming. Now, I've also played Call of Duty with him. And we've been over in DMZ playing, and we've had other people in our squad, and we've had communication that wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
And of course, we're not telling them where we live and those kinds of things.
Exactly.
There's some healthy boundaries that we have to have in gaming, because there are very, very toxic people out there.
Yeah.
And there are people that are going to try and find out where you're at, and they want to dox you, and they want to do all these crazy things.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to bring that perspective, because that's kind of where I was going with our workshop. The Lala Boy Foundation, Paola talked about how gaming friends are real friends to our kids. So we have to be careful as parents that we don't invalidate those friendships, and we still pay attention to those and talk about boundaries like you talked about, and being careful with what information you share with people that you game with that you don't know in person, and things like that. So I guess I bring that up because I was talking about friends that people you don't know, talking to people you don't know online, but I think gaming is a little separate from that. Just with the nature of gaming.
I think at the widest, maybe city, I wouldn't go any more narrow than cities. State, city, not sharing what school we go to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not sharing first name, sure.
Yeah.
Last name, never.
Right.
Not sharing, neighborhood even, because there's so much data out there that we can find things really, really quick. If we know first name, if they've mentioned a sport that they play,
right,
and they mention the high school, all of a sudden we can find just by going to ASA and the website, we can all of a sudden pull up their last name.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we can find out their address.
Yeah.
With a 5-minute Google search.
Yep, you're right.
Without even having to pay for anything.
Or even your clothing. The pictures that you post.
If you've got
the school shirt on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have to be
or
incredibly
tagging
safe.
a location.
And just because the person that you're gaming with is polite, sounds very, very nice, does not mean that they're not a groomer, that they're not a predator, that's not their means of finding people that they want to go connect with, and hey, I just happened to be in town for a conference. You want to go grab a cup of coffee? Yeah. It's there's a lot of things that kids will think just seems to be so safe and natural, and mom, dad, you just don't understand. He's my friend. Yeah. I've been playing games with him for a year. Well, guess what? Groomers have no problem investing a lot of time if it seems like it's going to be promising.
Yeah. Yeah, good points. Really good points. So educate yourself and your child. Set clear guidelines and boundaries. With my kids, we have a rule: no electronics after dinner on a school night. On the weekend, we might watch a movie after dinner, or they might have some tablet time before bed once in a while, or on the summer break or something. But generally, you want to have healthy habits and boundaries around technology use. Some families have some really great things like tech-free dinner, where you put your phone away for dinner. I'm guilty of having my phone at dinner, or working and being on my phone, when I'm in the presence of my family. But generally, we want to encourage kids and adults to be present.
Now, if you go to Union at the Union Grill at over at Higley and Baseline. And you go, it's Kenny's restaurant, one of Kenny's restaurants.
Right.
If you go there is a little thing on the table, and it's a phone jail.
Oh.
And so that's one of the restaurants where
I didn't
you can
know
go
that.
sit there. You can put your phones in there, have everybody's phones in there, and it's designed to let everybody just actually have conversation.
Yeah.
at their meal.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that. I haven't heard of that at many restaurants. And really,
And you can get those on. By the way, you can get those on Amazon. They're actually little phone jails, and there's a little lock on it. You can put those on your dining room table. Everybody puts their phones on it. It's a little lock, and
that's
there you
cool.
go.
I love that. That's a great idea. So have those clear guidelines and boundaries. In fact, I'm gonna refer you to Common Sense Media. If you have not heard of Common Sense Media, that's an incredible resource, and I'm actually working with them on coming up with a family workshop that will be talking about a lot of these things for you, where you can actually come with your child and practice some of these skills, have some of these conversations, talk through some sticky situations. But anyway, Common Sense Media, if you haven't heard of them, check them out. They will actually go with like a show or a movie, and they'll talk through, you can read the rating of it. Who is it rated for? What are some of the things that are kind of questionable that might come up? What, bad words or scenes or violence or themes. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely check out Common Sense Media. They have a lot of resources on their website.
So I have one more thing to ask you about.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people can hear it,
Yes.
but we do have a school dog in the studio right now. And it's River, the school dog for the school that you're working at. And so I want to hear about a different pup, though. So you are a social worker. Oh, there
he is. This is River.
There's River. And so if you're watching the video, you would have seen River. I don't know if you can hear him on the audio, but so that's a pup. I want to hear about the other pup.
Yeah. So PUP is our Parent University podcast. So if this kind of a topic like internet safety or social media or other parenting topics is an interest of you, definitely check that out. We are featuring local experts talking about a variety of issues impacting parenting and youth in our community.
All right. And how do they find that?
Yeah, so
any platform they just look at?
Yeah, Parent University podcast, and it's the Gilbert Public Schools Parent University. And you can also check out our website, gilbertschools.net/Parent University, and you can see our calendar of upcoming workshops. You'll find lots of information about what's going on for parents in the area. And it is not just for Gilbert Public Schools families. It's actually open to anybody. You don't even have to live in the town of Gilbert. It's free. It's an excellent resource for our community.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for spending time with us this week at State 48 Homeowner, the ins and outs of owning an Arizona home. You can connect with us for more information, submit topics you'd like us to further discuss. You can see relevant videos, give us feedback, answer your real estate questions, and more at state48homeowner.com.